Welcome to the Power Foods Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Kristy Jo, a certified fitness nutrition specialist, personal trainer, and weight loss specialist. I've been teaching the Power Foods Lifestyle since 2012, which is a system of principles you can use to design your own approach to strategic eating. My hope is that you will gain confidence as the strategist of your own health as you seek to power your body. Learn more and grab my recipe books, education books, and nutrition programs to help you out more with your goals at powerfoodslifestyle.com, sold by Scene Company. Today is episode 254. We are talking weeks 16, 17, 18, and 19 of pregnancy. Yes, I have grouped these all together for a few reasons. Number one, I have had a difficult time transitioning towards awesomeness and being quote unquote perfect in my nutrition. And I don't expect the same. Well, I do expect, actually, I have no expectations of you, but I don't want you to expect that of yourself either. This transition into second trimester, there's no magic wand that's waved that suddenly everything is easy. I wanted to share that I have been really suffering from fatigue and exhaustion, which we will be discussing today. Some strategies to help with that. But overall, I just feel like these weeks can be grouped together very well. From week 20 on, we're going to try hitting it even harder together. And then, of course, we had some fun moving transitions as well. So, that all encompassed is why I'm grouping all of these together. So thank you for joining me here today. I hope that if you are joining me, you have listened to the introduction to the pregnancy series as well as the last one as we transitioned out of trimester 1 into trimester 2. In today's episode, we'll be covering how your baby is developing during these weeks of the second trimester, the importance of meal timing and finding your routine, fatigue, lack of energy, and ways to get your iron up, as well as discussion on caffeine use, a reminder about PVCF meals, what those look like and sound like, and then how to love your body through this stage. What's fun about me recording this while I'm moving through pregnancy is that probably the things I'm talking about and sharing with you are the things that I specifically need. Now, you may or may not need these exact things, but I'm hoping that they'll at least give you something to think about, helping you along your journey and helping you, A, feel you're not alone, B, giving you a little bit of greater perspective or things you hadn't considered before, some ideas to try, and so forth. And at the end of the episode, if you throw everything away you've heard and be like, yeah, none of that applies to me, cool, then it just means that you have had enough ability to assertively look at the information and say, run it through the filter of, does it apply to me or not? So good for you. Awesome. Let's talk about how your baby is developing right now. The baby has reached a point where movements are being felt more often by the mother. Mine only started to be felt about 3 days ago. I got some little kicks, just really, really low in my abdomen. Kind of just felt more like pokes or like little, what the heck was that? If you are a first-time mother. And everyone describes them differently. I don't know that I would ever use the word butterflies. I hear that a lot in Facebook groups and so forth, but I don't think that. It's more of just a weird jabbing, poking, prodding feeling. And it usually is not high up. That usually is gas, because as our stomach's growing, making room in the uterus, the intestines are getting shoved up. So if you're feeling something up near your ribs, that is gas. That's not your baby until later on, once baby has really, really gotten big, past weeks 33, 34, that's when, maybe that is movement up there. For instance, with Aaliyah, my baby that is here, she's 16 months now, actually today. She was a breech baby and her head was right up under my rib cage. And I'll tell you, every time she pushed that out, I knew it was her head. And some people thought it was a butt, but no, we had the ultrasound. She was frank breech the entire pregnancy. She was never head down. And anyway, it was like a freaking huge softball just bolting out under my ribs. It was the most uncomfortable, weird feeling. So based on that experience, that's kind of why I'm saying later on, it probably is baby, but right now in this gestational age, it's probably gas. So it will be low, kind of like an inch or 2 to 3 inches above your pubic bone. That's kind of where generally most mothers are going to feel that. The skin of the fetus is going through many changes and begins to produce vernix in the 20th week. Vernix is a white pasty substance that covers the fetus's skin to protect it from amniotic fluid. A fetal heartbeat can be heard by a stethoscope now. The fetus has reached a length of 8 inches and weighs about 12 ounces. Super cool. Also, I follow the app, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and they say that by week 19, end of 19, your baby is about the size of a mango. So our baby's growing. It's so exciting. And by the way, that information came from AmericanPregnancy.org. Okay, as I mentioned, I have really been struggling with lack of energy, fatigue, lethargy, all of that. Now, of course, that's going to firstly come from normal life, right? Normal life makes us tired. If you have children, like I have a 16-month-old, that will also make you tired. My baby has been waking up a little bit earlier and earlier each day, not a fan of that. And the last few days have been 5 a.m. wakings in spite of her going to bed at her regular bedtime. She just wants to wake up and play and go outside and play in the dirt and see things. And it's frustrating. And it has put me in a very bad mood until about 1 p.m. when I can actually wake up and shake off the sleep sparkle dust, I guess. And it's been really difficult though, because as you know, when you are exhausted and fatigued, it impacts everything. Mostly your mood. Suddenly you're not like this chipper, happy, peppy person, but I don't know, unless you're awesome, like I get very critical. I get critical of myself. I get critical of my husband. I get critical of everything going on. I'm short-tempered. I assume more of the bad side of people. If I'm out and about running errands, I'm less just kind and generous and wanting to be my best. And it's more about survival mode. And that's a rough place to be, especially when it's chronically, and that's happening every day. And then of course our body is developing another human. And so that in itself is going to put us in a more tired state. Insomnia is very normal at this stage as well, and throughout the rest of the pregnancy. While today we're not going to specifically talk about insomnia, I feel like the things we will talk about, perhaps all encompassing, like when you attack different areas, it's going to have far reaching impacts. It's not like A plus B always equals C. Sometimes A plus B plus C equals D, E, F, G. You just don't know until you try what the results are going to be. So let's look at some of the things we can be doing or perhaps try. And again, I am sharing this as extra motivation for me to apply these things as well. So this information comes from AmericanPregnancy.org. They say the second trimester is usually the honeymoon, so enjoy it. I really don't enjoy statements like that, because if you are someone like me who is not experiencing the quote unquote honeymoon of the pregnancy, then it can be quite frustrating because you're full of the shoulds and it's supposed to's and the what's wrong with me's. So I want to remind you that I think, in my perspective, as I consider why do most women call it like the honeymoon stage or like the best part, I think because we're not as sick as the first trimester. Hooray! Hopefully your heartburn, if you do have heartburn, which definitely normal if you do have it, mine started a few weeks ago. We can talk about, I'll just quickly say, about a teaspoon of baking soda before you go to bed at night in water will help immensely. Of course, most people are going to turn to Tums. I do Tums, but I'm also trying to do more of the baking soda drink before bed. And I do mix it with True Lime or True Lemon, the natural water flavor enhancer packets. So anyhow, you're not as sick as that first trimester, and you're also not as heavy and aching and just, I don't want to set you up for these expectations if you're a first-time mom, but in my experience, it was difficult to be heavier, and it was difficult to carry around this bulbous tummy, and movements were awkward and just slower, and it was challenging. And so there's that, in addition to, of course, needing to urinate more frequently, in addition to headaches, in addition to, just lots of little things just crop up throughout the entire pregnancy. And so perhaps comparatively to first and third trimester, second trimester looks better. It doesn't mean it's a walk in the park. So let's just set that expectation straight. Going back to what they say about this. More than half of pregnant mamas experience this symptom. Let's not forget, your body is producing new hormones and making a lot of changes to prepare for human creation. It takes a lot of work. You're also producing more blood to carry nutrients to the baby, causing increased effort for your heart and other organs. Mental and emotional stress are also reasons you may be feeling exhausted. You may have difficulty sleeping later in your pregnancy due to multiple bathroom trips, leg cramps, and heartburn. Yes, all three. Fatigue can be a symptom of anemia, particularly from being iron deficient. Your body needs iron to make hemoglobin, the substance in red blood cells that enables them to carry oxygen to your tissues and to your baby. According to the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, your need for iron doubles to 27 milligrams during pregnancy due to the needs of the baby, the additional blood produced by your body, and the blood loss that will occur during delivery. Most prenatal vitamins contain enough iron to support this increased requirement, with the exception of gummies. To get enough through food, eat iron-rich foods like red meat, poultry, fish, 2 to 3 servings per week max, dried beans, peas, iron-fortified cereals, and prune juice. Since ACOG recommends limiting caffeine intake, which in parentheses says 200 milligrams a day is considered the upper limit, what can you do to make it through the day? Here are some tips on how to beat the sleepy time blues. So going back to that really quick, I just wanted to say in the last episode, I shared the fact that I do not take a prenatal vitamin. I take different components of vitamins at the dosage that I feel is right through my research and my studies and my work with my body that are right for me. And so one of the things I do supplement with is iron. My supplementation is a little bit higher than the 27. I do closer around the 30 to 40 milligram mark. And I wasn't supplementing with iron until pregnancy number 1, when my blood work came back and my doctor did officially tell me your iron is low. Let's either supplement it to get it up or really work on iron-rich foods. And I did both. And I can't tell you like, oh my gosh, it felt like I was on pre-workout. Like, no, it's not like a magic elixir, but to give your body the nutritional support and the vitamin support it needs is really critical. So we are going to talk about iron as well as a little bit more on caffeine in just a moment. Some of the tips that the ACOG gives to reduce lack of energy and pregnancy fatigue. And I will have my commentary on each point. If possible, take several cat naps. We recommend a quality pregnancy pillow that provides great support. As far as cat naps go, awesome. If your work schedule, your children's schedule, whatever, if it allows it, great. Take advantage of that. 15 to 30 minute naps really can make a huge difference. And be very cautious. Like, don't hit the road if you can help it. Like, if you need 15 to 30 minutes little nap in a locked car in the parking lot, very well trafficked. I'm not telling you to be unsafe here. Do what you feel good about, but I have done that many times. Made sure I'm safe, everything like that. That really, let's not have any accidents on the road, falling asleep and so forth, especially if you are commuting to and from work. As far as a quality pregnancy pillow, last pregnancy, I got one of those full U-shaped pregnancy pillows. I ended up throwing it away. I did not like it. It made me feel claustrophobic. I hated the fact that if I traveled, which I did travel every few weeks or so during that pregnancy, I had a trip or I was off doing judging dance competitions and so forth. And I hated it personally. So this time around, I am not buying a pillow. I'm just getting like an extra normal pillow to put between my knees, as in the coming weeks, as I get heavier, like I still sleep on my back right now. I'm a back sleeper. In the coming weeks though, my body just knows when it's time to start going on my side. And with my scoliosis, that's a difficult thing for me. And so sleeping with a pillow between my knees, that will be super helpful. And maybe even another one just to help support the weight of the bump as it grows. So if you love your pregnancy pillow and you already have one and you just love it, awesome, super happy for you. It just didn't work for me. Get up and walk around to get yourself moving. Yep, that definitely helps. Go to bed early, mama. Yes, that does help. And it's so hard because especially if you have kids like me, like you put them to bed and you want a little bit of that quiet time and that time with your partner, or just to be alone, or just to clean the house or do all the things that didn't get done all day. Or maybe you got off work and you just need that like quiet time, But I'll tell you what, it makes a huge difference. 2 nights ago, my husband and I stayed up till 11:30. I think I was reading a book. He was working. He's doing his master's online right now. So we were busy doing stuff, and Aaliyah had an early morning the next day, and I was a mess. And then last night, because I was a mess, I was like, I'm going to bed at 8. As soon as I put her down, I am in bed. I read a book until 9, fell asleep. It was another 5 a.m. morning, and while I was still tired, it was a much different story than the day before. And so I am learning my lesson, get to bed early, just shut down. It's okay to leave the list of to-dos undone as long as you got the priority ones done, of course, which should be done earlier in the day. So you don't get to the end of the day and they still aren't done, right? Reduce the chances of the need to pee waking you up by drinking fluids earlier in the day, and avoid drinking at least 2 hours before bed. I do think that's important for us to hydrate more frequently during the day. My husband is constantly trying to get me to drink more. And he thinks because of my leg cramps at night, which are very common in pregnancy, but mine are really, really, really severe. And he just thinks I just am not drinking enough water. And so we'll see. He's doing a great job trying to help me. Minimize nighttime heartburn by not eating right before bed. You want to do it about 2 to 3 hours prior. I do notice that does make a big difference. Stretch your leg muscles before bedtime to avoid leg cramps, and include potassium-rich foods like bananas, peaches, kiwis, potatoes, and leafy greens in your diet. I don't necessarily agree with that altogether because I do all of that, and none of that impacts my muscle cramps at all. I additionally take 300 milligrams of magnesium at night. I think the biggest thing is avoiding high carbohydrate, like simple carbs, things like Doritos, crackers, cookies, those types of things in the evening hours. That for me personally makes a huge difference in my leg cramps, as well as adding in that baking soda drink at night. And the thing about the baking soda, that actually goes twofold. It helps with preventing cramps. Now we do put a little sea salt in it too, and that all of this added together really does wonders. And so helping to avoid leg cramps and heartburn. As far as potassium-rich foods, I mean, bananas are good, but the fact is avocados have twice as much potassium as bananas, and I'm shocked that avocados aren't even in this list of high potassium foods. Exercise, unless your healthcare provider has advised against it. It can improve your mood and energy level. 30 minutes of walking 3+ times a week can help. I am a huge advocate of walking. That's a huge part of my, pregnancy and postpartum exercise. It really is. However, I did want to mention this in case any of you are experiencing this as well. About this time, during these weeks that we're discussing today, the protein hormone called relaxin is really starting to increase in our bodies. This is a hormone the placenta releases, as well as the uterine lining, and this is what allows our body and our ligaments to stretch and our hips to expand and things to just prepare for this child to exit our bodies. It's really phenomenal. Because of this, it's almost like my body, I don't know if it was an actual injury that happened during my first pregnancy in week 11 or 12, but I have an adductor, an inner thigh muscle that felt like it got pulled to an extreme level. Now, that weekend, my husband and I had gone camping. We had done an 8-mile hike, probably too strenuous for that time, but at that point I was still challenging my ego of I can do things while I'm pregnant. And now I have a much kinder, gentler approach, as I have been through the experience before. And I'm like, no, my body needs a little more rest and a little more care. And now is not the time to push and go. Like that will just create problems. So long story short, it took until postpartum, a few months, for that adductor muscle to feel like it was finally healing up. And things have been great for the past almost a year now, until suddenly last week, it was almost as if a ghost of this pulled muscle suddenly popped up and decided to haunt me again. And it literally feels like it's pulled, and I have an extreme pain pulling at the base of my pelvis as I teach dance class, as I do my workouts and my lunges and everything like that. Like I cannot move at the same speed or go to the same depth of my movements that I previously had due to the pain. And this has also impacted my desire to go walking even. And so that's been really difficult. Just keep in mind that advice like this, like to get out and walk for 30 minutes, you do what you can, but there's no golden rule of what we all are going to be able to do. We're going to have to adjust to what our bodies need, our abilities, our time, our weather, our access, and so just again, do what you can with what you have and think critically about what your body needs. Try to eat every 3 to 4 hours and make sure to include carbohydrates, protein, and fat in every meal and snack. If you listened to the last episode, I taught you about PVCF, protein, vegetable, carbohydrate, and fat meals. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and love that they make the recommendation to eat every 3 to 4 hours. Stick to high fiber carbohydrates, things like whole grains, starchy vegetables, and fruit, and minimize your sweets and refined grains. Now, this is the point of pregnancy. We do want to be putting more emphasis on doing that and getting more of the nutrient-dense foods, complex carbohydrates into our bodies, and start weaning ourselves off so much of the crackers and cookies and ice creams and top ramen and mac and cheeses and survival foods that got us through until now. And we're all going to be doing that at different rates and abilities and access and finances and all of that. And so again, we're going to do the best we can with what we have. Drink plenty of fluids, especially water, and reduce stress. Okay, that's not so easy to do, but spend time on things that you find relaxing. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you are overstressed. Talk to your healthcare provider for resources. You can even try meditating. I'm a huge advocate of meditating. I need to do it more. But I just love going to YouTube on my phone and I type in guided meditation for, and then whatever I'm feeling that day, stress, anxiety, fatigue, pain, whatever. And there's a guided meditation there, and usually I'll just set a timer on my phone. So even if the actual meditation is longer than that, doesn't matter. Like, I'm done in 10 minutes, and it's a wonderful way to re-energize yourself. Next up, let's talk about how to know if you're getting enough iron. Eating iron-rich foods and taking extra iron as your doctor recommends can help keep your iron levels in check. The benefits of iron are that your body uses it to make extra blood for you and your baby during pregnancy. Iron also helps move oxygen from your lungs to the rest of your body and to your babies. Getting enough iron can prevent a condition of too few red blood cells that can make you feel tired, called iron deficiency anemia. Having anemia can cause your baby to be born too small or too early. When should you start taking iron? According to the CDC, you should start taking a low-dose iron supplement, about 30 milligrams a day, when you have your first prenatal appointment. In most cases, you will get this amount of iron in your prenatal vitamin. You'll need at least 27 milligrams of iron every day during your pregnancy. What foods are high in iron? You can find iron in meat, poultry, and plant-based foods, as well as in supplements. There are two types of iron in foods. Heme iron is the type of iron your body absorbs best. You get heme iron in beef, chicken, turkey, and pork. Non-heme iron is the other type, which you can find in beans, spinach, tofu, and ready-to-eat cereals that have added iron. Let's go through a list of some iron-rich foods. So if you're in a position to take some notes, this might be really good to do. Iron-fortified instant oatmeal, iron-fortified ready-to-eat cereal, raisins, kidney beans, lentils, lima beans, oysters, soybeans, dried herbs, dried apricots, spinach, peas in the pod, asparagus, white mushrooms, acorn squash, leeks, dried coconut, green beans, raspberries, liver, shellfish, roast beef, mackerel, canned tuna, lamb, dark turkey meat, trout, chicken breast, pork chops, and chicken drumsticks. At the same time you eat foods that are high in iron, try to have them with a food that contains vitamin C, such as tomatoes or oranges. Vitamin C helps your body absorb non-heme iron. That's the type that was in more of those plant-based foods. So absorbing that non-heme iron better when you eat both at the same meal. On the other hand, there are certain drinks and foods that prevent your body from absorbing iron. This includes coffee, tea, milk, whole grains, and dairy products. Try not to eat these foods at the same meal when you're eating foods high in iron, and specifically focusing on eating foods high in iron. For example, instead of having coffee or tea with breakfast cereal, have a glass of orange juice. So in Power Foods Lifestyle lingo, most of these iron-rich P's or proteins shouldn't have another P or F that is dairy or a C that is a whole grain. So instead, go with a non-gluten C and a non-dairy P or F, and you will be good to go there. Let's discuss some iron-rich meals you might try adding into your menu this week. Now, no way can I eat liver. I have tried cooking it, and it smells delicious. I go to take a bite, and I just cannot handle that texture. So for me, I have just decided I'm not going to give it a shot again. I like to enjoy my food. I can keep it down if I enjoy my food. And so I choose foods that are palatable to me, and I hope you do as well. The iron in chicken is definitely more of a bioavailable type, so that's good because I am a chicken lover. So a half breast of chicken contains about 6% of your daily value for iron based on a 2,000 calorie diet. It's also among the top 10 foods highest in iron. A 6-ounce piece of lean cooked chicken breast contains 5% of your daily value. So let's go with perhaps like a 4 to 5 ounce chicken breast. I like to cook mine in the Instant Pot and then shred it. And there's a bazillion different recipes. All you got to do is go to Pinterest and look up Instant Pot shredded chicken, and there's great ideas, quick as well as more elaborate with lots of different seasonings, and you can make your chicken taste phenomenal. And I like to serve that over a leafy green salad with some spinach and romaine, maybe some kale, some fresh broccoli chopped up, black or pinto beans. Now, I personally bottle mine, and I love the taste of my bottled beans. But you can eat them from the can. I know some women are concerned about that, and you don't really need to be. It's one of those very lesser concerns. Though you are welcome to soak them for 24 hours, helping remove some of the lectins. And then you can pressure cook those in an Instant Pot or just boil them on the stove to get those to a texture that you're ready to eat. And then also add some avocado, nice healthy fats, and some avocado oil and balsamic vinegar on top. That sounds like a perfect salad. Also, if you were to eat some sliced oranges on the side or some tomatoes, that would also help with the absorption of the iron. Another idea is some canned tuna. Remember, maximum 2 times a week for not only tuna, but basically any fish. We just want to watch out for that mercury and other heavy metals. So once in a while, I do enjoy some tuna, but definitely try not to do it more than twice a week. So you can serve that on bell pepper and make some boats with raw almonds, tomatoes, pickles, and olives. You might chop up some green onions, mix in a little bit of avocado mayo, and even a little bit of some ranch powder from a packet, and that could taste super good. Mix that in with the tuna before you scoop it on the bell peppers. You might add a roasted sweet potato on the side for some carbs. Another yummy salad could be raspberries, spinach, and green beans with a side of pork chops. Drumsticks with a side of lentils and steamed asparagus. Dried apricots and cucumber as a snack. And roast beef with fried red potatoes and avocado oil with a side of steamed spinach and white mushrooms. Let's talk a bit more about caffeine intake. So you have a love affair with coffee or some other caffeinated beverage, and you want to know if you need to give it up while you're pregnant. There are some healthcare providers who will encourage you to give it up altogether, while others will give you an okay for limited consumption. It is always best to consult your doctor before making a decision on your own. Can caffeine cause birth defects in humans? The fact is, numerous studies on animals have shown that caffeine can cause birth defects, preterm delivery, reduced fertility, and increase the risk of low birth weight and other reproductive disorders. Although studies on humans are inconclusive at this time, it is better to play it safe when it comes to the health of your baby. Usually, these are brought on by high intake over an extended period of time. The fact is, experts have stated that moderate levels of caffeine have not been found to have a negative effect on pregnancy. So after consulting with myself, saying what is needed, what is safe, I spent days in research looking at all of the information I could find about these tests and caffeine, and I did decide that this pregnancy I was going to go ahead and for 6 days a week I was going to do between 100 and 200 milligrams of caffeine, and the 7th day, usually Sabbath day for me on Sunday, I would not do any caffeine. And I am, as you know, almost 20 weeks in now, and I have felt great. I will be honest with you, I have been very nervous, very, very nervous. And I'm just sharing my story. I'm not telling you what to do. And you may even be aghast at me doing this and sharing this. But at each ultrasound, at each time we went to hear the heartbeat, I have been very nervous because this was new, unforged territory for myself personally. And of course, the last thing I want to do is create any problem for my unborn child. But weighing out the necessity of what I felt in my life has been needed during this time for me. Again, I went with what felt right, and so far everything is looking beautiful and perfect. Anyway, I made a decision based on research and my personal situation that I felt was right. So far, everything is looking good. So I'm formulating a good hypothesis. I would, based on my research, like to dial back to under 100, probably 50 to 100 milligrams per day in the 3rd trimester. So I don't know. I don't know, but I guess that's all I'm going to say on that. Just keep in mind that yes, there's caffeine in way more than coffee or Coke Zero or yerba mate or whatever it is that you're doing. It's in nearly every soda. It is in like Ben & Jerry's Coffee Buzz ice cream. It's in Baker's chocolate, green tea, black tea, and Excedrin. And I don't know, what I've heard in research, like Excedrin I wouldn't really turn to unless it was a desperate situation. Of course, we should only be doing Tylenol as a painkiller at this point. So just be mindful and do keep track of your total values of how much caffeine you are taking. So as far as getting headaches, something to try before you just immediately turn to medication is applying a compress to your head or neck, eating more frequent meals to avoid low blood sugar and drink more water, massaging your head, or definitely have someone do that for you, trying to block out light and sound if you can, of course, whether it's sunglasses or earphones. And then if you've gotten the okay from your doctor, taking a dose of acetaminophen would be great as well. That's something that every now and then really, really does work for me after I've gone through all the A, B, C, D, E questions of, okay, have I eaten? How much water have I been drinking? Are my clothes too tight? Like there's weird things that you just don't know what could be giving you a headache. Like how am I handling my stress? Where's my posture been? Have I had a chiropractic adjustment recently? Things like that. Let's talk about loving your body when you are pregnant. Knowing that your body's changes are essential to your developing baby is reason enough to embrace these changes. But that's so much easier said than done, right? Oh, it's a difficult thing. It really is. So let's try to understand what our body is doing for our baby. Your baby has a fetal life support system that consists of the placenta, umbilical cord, and amniotic sac. The placenta produces hormones that are necessary to support a healthy pregnancy and baby. These hormones help prepare your breasts for lactation and are responsible for many changes in your body. You will have an increase in blood circulation that is needed to support the placenta. This increase in blood is responsible for that wonderful pregnancy glow that you may have. And I just saw a post in one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of, like a due date Facebook group. And people were going off about like how everyone's like, oh, you're going to glow, you're going to have the best skin and hair and nails, blah, blah, blah. They're like, yeah, that definitely is not happening. I've never seen it in myself. So I would just say, if people give you that compliment, smile and just say thank you. Don't look for this magical elixir that, we're just going to be walking around these stunning beauties. And because then what's that? It's an unmet expectation, right? And that's where a lot of disappointment and frustration can come in. So don't expect pregnancy glow and all this wonderful, lovely stuff. Like if that happens, cool, but let's try not to expect that. Let's just expect to be normal human beings walking around doing what we need to do every day, doing our best to take care of ourselves and our growing child and provide a safe environment for that. Your metabolism is increasing, so you may have food cravings and the desire to eat more. Your body is requiring more nutrients to feed both you and your baby. Your uterus will enlarge and the amniotic sac will be filled with amniotic fluid. The amniotic fluid is there to protect your baby from any bumps or falls. I'm going to say this isn't even my podcast notes to say today, but in the research I have done and the comments in Safe Babies, Safe Moms, etc., in different Facebook groups I'm a part of, if you are a new first-time mom and you have seen the ads for that weird pregnancy seatbelt that causes the belt to go down and loop around something, I'm going to say stay far away from it. It's not approved. Our bodies were built to do this. Of course, the belt should go very low underneath the bump, but your body was built to protect your child. So I would just caution you, stay away from things like that. Here are a few things we can do to love our bodies during pregnancy. Exercise. Of course, it can help us feel more fit, strong, and hey, maybe sexy. I don't know. Let me know if you feel that way. I just feel more fit and strong, and I like the feeling of that I am capable, that I am not giving up on myself, that I'm aware that my body has needs in spite of what's going on, that my muscles need strengthening and toning. Having been in the body composition world for years now, nearly a decade, I'll tell you what, it is so quick for muscles to atrophy. Even if you think the size or the look of them aren't changing, I mean, you probably know 1 week off not doing exercises and the atrophy of that muscle strength and conditioning is so quick. So no, right now isn't really the time to have a goal to gain all this muscle, change the size of our muscle, etc. Especially because we have more body fat coming on. So it's not like you're going to see the look of that muscle change, but to feel, I think, the psychological benefits of knowing you are caring for your body, you're helping to maintain and not just letting everything atrophy, saying, well, I'll pick this up, 9 months from now and I'll hit it hard then. Like that's so easy. Something I'm always considering psychologically is how the mindset you have now and then the mindset you allow each subsequent day, that's the person you become. So it's not like you wake up in 9 months and be like, cool, that mindset of I'm going to hit it so hard 9 months ago, that's long gone. You evolved away from that person. You evolve each day, and the mindset you have and that you cultivate is who you are. And so if you want to be a person that hits it hard after pregnancy, you be the person that hits it hard now. Everything's relative. Hitting it hard may look like, hey, you know what? Today I did 20 walking lunges. I did 20 push-ups against my counter, and then I spent 5 minutes stretching and 5 minutes in meditation. Maybe that's what it looks like, but you're making it a part of your schedule. You're making it consistent, and you're putting it as a high priority in your day. And I think that's really the key here. Make sure you pamper yourself once in a while. Maybe it's okay to get a body massage or a little makeover or taking a warm bubble bath, going for a walk. Just focus on activities that make you feel healthy and make the most of these wonderful 9 months. I'm a big believer in foot massages And if my husband is busy, like right now, he's getting his online master's degree and he's very busy in the evenings, I am watching a show or reading a book by myself in the late evening hours, on the nights I don't go to bed early like I should be. I really love to pamper my feet, and I like to get some deep conditioning oils and sand down the calluses and then put on some socks. And this is just a habit that I've gotten into, maybe from being a dancer, but that always makes me feel so pampered. And that's something I can do myself. I mean, it's always great if my husband does it randomly, but it's not too common. And I don't know, that's just something for me that has worked really well. Okay, finally, I think it's also important that we remember that the way we cultivate our mindset about our bodies now is, again, the way we're going to think about our bodies after pregnancy. And it's going to take time to adjust and return to that non-pregnant state. If you're a first-time mom, a lot of people won't tell you it takes time for your uterus to shrink. You might still look very, very, very pregnant right after giving birth, and even in 2 or 3 days after. If you're curious how I looked, it took me about 3 weeks for my uterus to really start to shrink. Go look at my Instagram account, pregnancyjourney_KJ, and scroll down on my archived posts, and you can see the 1 week postpartum, 2 weeks postpartum, 3, 4, and it's really fascinating. And I was not expecting that. I was not ready for that, because my mom had always told me stories about how she went home from the hospital in her regular pre-pregnancy jeans, and I kind of just expected that, and my body did not do that. Whether that's because I had a C-section or because I definitely probably gained a lot more weight than my mom did, I don't know. But I think it's good to just remember it's going to be a process. And so not being too hard on yourself will, give you a little less expectation for after the birth too. Based on my experience in my first pregnancy, I now know to give myself a good 12-week grace period, that I'm not going to even judge my body. Yes, I'm going to, when able, get back to regular exercise and feeling my body better and better and better. But as far as any expectation of, I'll just return back to my pre-pregnancy shape and size by this date, I'm not going there. Not even going to set that. I'm just going to say, here are the habits. Here are the characteristics of the person I'd like to be. I'd like to be a person who eats a salad a day. I'd like to be a person who doesn't eat garbage food at night. If I do have, non-strategic garbage food, then it's going to be in small portions, and that I can moderate that. I'm a person who has vegetables at each meal, that instead of just a random snack, that it's like a strategic snack. I'm someone that has cottage cheese with cucumbers and olives or something like that. And so I think it's about developing those types of things and expectations of ourselves. And when we focus on that, that's what we can control. And then the body and whatever comes after, that's a little more manageable because we're focusing on those variables that we do control. So there are my thoughts for this stage of our journeys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening to my story, and definitely feel free to share with me what your thoughts are and how things are going for you. You can reach me at powerfoodslifestyle@gmail.com. Love hanging out with you. Join me again on my Instagram account, pregnancyjourney_KJ, where I just share my body journey and thoughts and feelings and development and all the fun stuff. So love it, love it. Okay, I will see you guys soon, in a few weeks, I'm sure. Power your body, one meal, one workout, one day at a time.